2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mugshots, where I don't know what the fuck is going on this week.
We're all drunk.
I hope so. Alright, and so our special guest this time is Flammenwerfer,
Hello.
who will be joining us for being absolute shitlords this week. So we have Alex, the spooky intern.
Spooky.
See, I can't read that enigma. Is it in Spanish?
Really? Are you pulling that card right now?
Yep, I am. And we have Ghostface Kilala.
Hello, everyone.
Haunted air conditioner.
I will turn on and off when you least expect it.
See, now I was hoping you'd do a quote from the little, brave little toaster.
Oh, God.
Oh, gee, I'm real scared, Kirby. What are you gonna do? Suck me to death? However you want. And we also have Johnny Babyface. Can't read the rest of it.
That's me.
Yeah. And Kyrie Spooky Pancakes.
Hello.
And this is your host, Jesus Cristo. Oh, God. Alright, now that we've off to that stellar start, crap, I lost my list.
Yeah, where's the list?
Yeah, give me a second. We are so not prepared for this. Yeah, we are not prepared for this, like, at all. As you can tell.
We've only had an hour.
I was playing video games. Hush.
Well, for the other half, we were looking for goat orgasms.
I was doing the important thing. I was playing Metroid, alright?
Oh, some heat and shit.
Oh, yeah, the funny sounds goats make when they're in rut. Okay, so, Tony, you're going to read your own because I don't Spanish.
Alright, let me bring it up. Someone put a link to it, the list. Okay.
It's in the announcements. Just scroll up a little bit.
¿Cuál lengua es mejor? ¿Español, inglés, or alemán?
Well, it depends, really. I've had more. Oh, we're jumping right into...
Not so much questions, but topics, yes.
Or the topics, yes. Well, I am trilingual in the sense of being conversational and at least in English. I'd hope I'm at least conversational in English.
No, we can't understand you.
Well, clearly
I'm
not,
Detective
obviously.
Carter. Do you speak any English? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Yes.
But yeah, and Spanish and German. And I'd have to say the thoughts come easier in German, but I just have more experience technically in Spanish, so the German is probably easier for me to speak more naturally, I'd have to say.
Interesting. I don't know, Flame. During that road trip, I proved that I can sing in German just as fine.
No, you didn't. You just proved you were an autist, like always.
What did he start singing? Alouette.
Yeah. I don't know. I found Spanish to be an easy language to pick up for me. I haven't tried German, but
Spanish is a lot harder in its own ways. Same with German. Spanish is a lot harder when it comes to if you try to learn it mechanically. It's like a really, really annoying language to learn once you get to higher level Spanish.
Yeah, especially when you really get into all the verb tenses and.
You get 16 different tenses in Spanish. Have fun with that.
Yep, I've gone through an entire high school course of Spanish, and I still study it on my own, and it's.
Yeah. Yep, same. I went all the way through advanced placement, and yeah, a lot of good that stayed with me.
Well, the only thing I can speak of for what's the word I'm looking for? the only way I can speak from experience on that is what I've been learning in Russian, and it's what they call cases.
German has them too. English has them too. They all have
Yeah.
them.
How would you explain cases? Like they have 5 different cases, and they're all possessives, and they're also on top of being different forms of possessives. They're also gender biased. So, like, if you were a female, you'd say a sentence very, very differently towards a man than you would towards a woman.
But yeah, cases aren't a different thing. We have them in English as well. We just don't notice them because of the ubiquity of the language itself.
Yeah.
Thing is, what's up?
Say real quick. Honestly, I feel like Spanish has fewer cases than English.
Probably has. Honestly, the cases are pretty much the same for the most part. It's just
I don't
we
know.
actively speak them differently in other languages than English. They're like all melded into one.
I don't know, guys. I still say Mexican queso is better.
I mean, yeah, I guess we're doing that.
Well,
God damn it.
I speak Spanish, not Mexican. Let's make that very clear.
Yeah, there's a distinction.
There is. So I use vosotros, and I will also I will actually have a lisp when I say a soft C or a Z. Just make a little TH sound.
Yo,
The proper way to do it.
Yes.
Seven says he likes that you're bringing that name back.
What name?
The Johnny Babyface, the Flammenwerfer.
You don't mess with Johnny Babyface. It ain't done, man.
You do have a very baby face. It's true.
Remember what Sevens was, Flom?
I fucking forget. No, I completely forget.
Is Seventh there right now, Kyrie?
Yeah. Speak, Seven.
No. How many flashlights now, Seventh?
Oh, he did want to ask if he can be on the stream next
That's not what I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask New Stella when.
Since when do you read, Stella?
Oh, bitch.
That shit's so fucking hip, dude. It's like the dopest fucking shit. It's bodacious.
You haven't read any of it, have you?
How many brothers does Stella have?
2?
Answer that.
Knew it, you fucking asshole.
Oh boy. Speaking of Stella, I can ask New Stella when.
This week actually.
Yes.
Didn't you just put one up?
Yeah, didn't you?
It's a
Like 2
story
days ago?
bad pony competition due on the 31st.
Good.
Wait,
I
you
need
made a
my
chapter for
frack
that?
fix.
No, I'm making a story for that.
Oh,
Oh.
nice.
Oh, good.
Well, then, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I need my fix, man.
Yes. It's just a simple one shot that with the option to be expanded if I want to. But it'll be leet.
Nice. All right.
And fuck you, Seven. You fat ass piece of shit. You tub of lard looking motherfucker.
Oh shit, we got super
He's
hot
always
fire
trying to-
going down.
He's always trying to ice skate uphill.
Well, if you live in New York, that's entirely possible. Who the fuck is calling me now? Well, all right. You guys go on to the next topic. I'm gonna mute myself for a second.
Okay.
Alright.
Advice for writing. How to start. Tips on planning. Does advice differ depending on what type of writing you plan on doing?
Hello.
I think it's gonna mute.
He
Mutes
didn't mute himself.
Scumbag Ravage. I'll mute
Oh my
myself.
God.
Doesn't mute himself.
Does anyone here have the authority to mute him?
Yeah.
Alex.
Yeah,
Should
I
I?
just texted.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got it. Apparently I do.
That seems a bit.
There.
Hold on. I got something. Oh, can I not? God damn it! I can't change his nickname. Shit.
What should I change?
I was gonna tell. It's scumbag.
Ravage.
Scumbag. Jesus Christ, or scumbag Ravage.
I bet he brings his newborns to the theaters.
Yeah.
No, that seems mean. I'm not gonna do that.
God damn it,
And
Alex.
then call him Ravage the Unmutable.
Okay.
Ravage. Beautiful. A ravage the mic, baby.
So as he was saying, advice for writing Flame.
You know, how to start, tips on planning, you know, does advice that you would give to someone differ depending on what type of writing they're going after?
Well, with a lot of my answers to these really good questions, it starts off with a hard "it depends," and for the most basic aspects are relatively the same. I just advise if you have your idea ready, you just vomit it out on paper and then just clear up all the chunky stuff first, afterwards. So, but
Right.
if you have specific topics that you're looking for,
God.
Hey, Flam, I have a question.
ease.
Are you aware that B commented on your page saying that he loves you and wants your advice on writing in life, and for some reason, 4 assholes just fucking downvoted him?
Oh yeah, I know that. It's hilarious. Oh, it's fucking hysterical. I love it.
Context. We need context.
No, I don't know why you're with that.
There is no
But-
context. He just loves.
There was no. He just wrote it.
He just wants to stick his dick in you.
Hi, Ravage.
That was your phone call.
Okay.
All right. Was that your answer, Flame, or?
Well, no, I wasn't finished actually. But yes, it does depend on kind of the subject because depending on what you're trying to do, it's best to have certain things in mind and certain plan of where you're going before continuing on. That exception tends to fall with mainly sci-fi though. Mainly because it has a huge world building aspect to it that you want to get across.
Right, and you know, could there be other genres like fantasy where you might see that as well, or maybe dystopian or
Well,
otherwise?
that can tend to fall under the umbrella of sci-fi. So, dystopian especially, fantasy, yeah, almost. But yeah, fantasy could also work as well. And one other topic would probably actually be co-op, depending on how serious you are about it.
Yes, I can tell. But now what about for something that's just more of a random, or I guess a shit post story, or
Then
something
just
that-
go crazy. Just have your idea and vomit it out on paper.
sometimes literally.
I mean, I literally wrote a shit. Yeah, exactly. I literally wrote a shitty story, a designated shitty story.
Designated shitty story.
Wait, does he not know?
Oh yeah, no, I wrote a designated shitting street story.
Oh god. Well then.
Yeah, that took all of about 20 minutes, so that should be.
Wait, you shot that out in 20 minutes?
Yeah, it's like 1,400 words. What the fuck else?
Right.
It's literally a story about shitting in the streets. Like I don't know. God damn it! Hold on. Fucking, it's literally a story about shitting in the streets. I mean, I don't know how high profile you can get with that.
You can describe how Luna's intestines twisted themselves to push that turd out.
Well, let me stop you right there. No.
No. Yeah, no.
Just no.
Nay.
I mean, maybe you'd
Maybe.
be interested in that, but I'm good.
Wait, writing the journey of a turd through the intestinal tract.
I
Why
wanted
don't
the
we
journey.
write-
If I wanted the journey of a turd, I'd commission an autobiography for you, mate. Okay.
Wow.
Wow. Why don't we? Ooh. Damn.
Shade
Damn.
was casted.
That's down payment. That's down payment for your That's down payment for your birthday roast.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, man. The roast Enigma cast.
He asked for it.
Yes, I
He
did.
asked, and he shall receive.
He's just a masochist. I'm sure it turns him on some level.
Probably. I mean, he probably masturbates during every cast.
Oh god, wait.
That's why he's
Shit,
muted
I
most of the
feel
time.
like-
Yeah, exactly.
No,
No,
That's actually a good
No,
point. That's
no,
actually a good
even-
point.
worse is like if Enigma actually was masturbates to it, it's like I was the first one to go up to ask questions at the BabsCon panel, and all I did was roast him. And so you're saying whilst I was doing that, he was secretly just
But there was a
going
cloth
at
on the
it.
table, so
Oh god.
Clearly.
that's also why Pencil had me do the cast in their bathtub to minimize the collateral damage.
Right.
God.
Hmm.
All right, you want to do the next one, Tony?
Alrighty, let's see. Bat ponies. This is for anyone. Like or dislike, what are some good ways the fandom has handled Bat Pony? Bad ways. Why is Stella so awesome and not?
Well, bat ponies are good because they're cute.
Yeah, is that all one question, or is that five and six together, and you were just eager to ask them?
Well, no, this is just like some of the things revolving around the Bat Pony.
Oh, fair. Oh, fair enough. Sure. And I don't know, since that was for everyone, did someone else want to take an answer first, or?
I thought it was just for you. That's why I was being quiet.
Oh, I thought it said it was
it's
for everyone.
anyone. It's
It's for anyone.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have a new theory about the Bat Ponies.
Let him talk first. That's fine. I don't care.
All right. Let me put my shit out there before you guys start heckling it. So
shit.
So the theory for me is that they're not actually related to bats. They're more akin to dragons because of the eyes and the wings.
Your
Just want dragon tits.
No, the tits are not involved whatsoever.
Shut it or not. You just want to think of Stella's tits as being dragon tits and all scaly.
I mean, Flame, didn't at one point we talk about Stella getting the Bloodstone Scepter?
That sounds familiar, but for some reason I don't want that to be familiar. Enlighten me.
God.
I recall like we joked around saying that she'd get it and that little vibration shit would happen. She's like, "Holy shit, this is awesome!" And I think you said that she'd probably get turned on by it.
I vaguely remember what you're talking about, but for some reason I don't remember this exact exchange.
How drunk were you when this happened?
I think the idea was that what if she was accidentally in in that place and she accidentally fell onto the scepter and became ruler of the dragons. I think that was the idea. She'd be a better candidate than Ember.
Like we did say that her eyes would get all fucking dilated and shit.
She won't turn into a fucking dragon.
No, she just commands dragons now.
Yeah, so she'd be like, well, I don't know. I don't even know what you'd do. Fucking get me your finest alcohol. Like, that's
You chamber boy, go get me a sandwich.
yeah. They then say we don't drink alcohol. We're dragons. We have no need for it. Then she just drops the saber and leaves. Like fuck it. I abdicate. I'm out.
What? She just drops it like a mic.
Yeah, she'll abdicate on the spot. He's like, what's the fucking point?
No booze.
No booze, no life.
Yeah. Sounds like this.
But yeah, we never touched on the Bat Pony question, did we? At all.
No, we were going.
So what was the first? What was the first part of that again?
Well, I mean, just for everyone here,
Well,
like or dislike, and
Well, I think my answer is obvious for the first part, and mainly because they're just unique and there's not a lot of backstory behind them, which leaves more open room for intrigue, which in turn leaves more open room for backstory and creating actually something that's believable from nothing that exists, and that's where I think the allure comes from.
Yeah, a lot of people say that they're vampires or they're like familiars of Luna.
There's different interpretations, and that's what I appreciate. I also appreciate the ones that are believable.
You know,
So-
I have to
Yeah.
agree here as
Like
well.
a Pegasus, like that's believable. Pegasus fucking a bat.
But no, I have to agree as well because I mean, that's one of the things that I like is when, you know, stories or shows or whatever leave a lot of things open ended in that way, and that it's up to the readers, up to the fans or whatever to fill in with their own thoughts or ideas. And
Well, it can't be a major plot point because
Well-
otherwise you have an incomplete story.
well, no, but it's something like this. Like you said,
Ancillary in a sense.
Right. They're really not a significant part of the plot or the show, so that just leaves a lot of room for the fans to fill it in with whatever they want. And I've seen some really interesting ones revolving around them, and I've also seen some really stupid ones around.
I believe it was Golden Armor, the story where... No, not Golden Armor. It was some other story where the bat ponies didn't actually exist. It was the armor that gave them their illusion.
Oh, right.
So what they took was that because a lot of the guards up until like season like maybe 5, I think it was, looked exactly alike. Then people gave credence to the fact that their armor gives them some camouflage, gives them a certain form of body camouflage to avoid identifying features. So they all look rank and file one and the same, but it disappears once the uniform is taken off. People applied that same idea to the whole bat pony myth, in which case they're actually normal ponies, but it gives them a darker coat, gives them predatorial eyes, it gives them bat wings if they happen to be Pegasus.
I've heard. Oh, go ahead, Rav.
Wait, Rav is muted.
No, he's not. He's
Yes,
fucking
He's the
right there.
unmutable.
Unless you muted him yourself.
Okay, I'll.
Fucking retard.
Yeah,
I
you
swear.
might have.
There he is.
All right.
GG.
So I got to recollect. My
You probably deleted Hillary's emails too.
Probably.
All right, I'm done.
Hey.
Go on.
Hey, no politics.
I know. I couldn't resist that one. Go on.
Okay. Shit. Well, Enigma interrupted me, and it completely derailed my thought. Oh. Yeah. So, did anybody ever make fun of it, like Aryan race, Hitler's Reich, shit like that, because they're all one and the same? Blonde hair, blue eyes, and so on.
Flame, did you do the opposite of that with the?
Well, that's actually a huge myth. The blonde hair, blue eyes are actually quite a minority in Germany, limited mainly to the Scandinavian portions, more northern Germans.
I know, but I mean, for pony guards, I mean, has anybody ever done like a, Heil Hitler story where they make them all the same? We're
That
all
seems-
we all have the same kind of a
No, that seems actually very oddly specific. I don't think that would happen.
Yeah.
You described a tame version of Starlight when she was a dictator.
Well, Starlight was actually a communist dictator.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a difference. Still fascist.
Yeah, I mean, I forget honestly what the end goal point of that was, but I remembered half the idea.
Right, but in any way, that was one interpretation of the bat ponies that I liked, is that they didn't actually exist. They just became a myth because of the Lunar Guard.
I saw something similar to that, or rather, I should say, I read something similar to that, to where the armor turns them into bats, but it actually turns them into bats, and once they join the Lunar Guard, it's permanent.
There's another one where the bat ponies were actually just normal bat ponies, but they're like ferrets, in which case you can never fucking find them at night, and only when you're not looking for them, they'll descend upon you and like fucking rip your penis off. I don't know what they do, but
Flame.
I saw one story like that, not with the ripping penis off, but
I think that's what
with
Flame.
ferrets do, yeah.
what?
Did a ferret rip off your penis? You can
No.
tell us.
No, I couldn't because I could never find the ferret.
Oh, you can never find your penis.
Just point us to on this doll where the ferret touched you.
I mean, another thing about the bat ponies is, like, I said this earlier a long time ago, but they could be a variant of Pegasi. Just like,
I mean,
just
that
like how
would-
Chris.
if you want to do like an actual genome of it, they probably would be more related to Pegasi if they're even related at all.
Just like how crystal ponies are a variant of earth ponies, because all crystal ponies are earth ponies.
But then,
Hmm.
are there like variants of Pegasi with different sorts of wings? So like insect wings and
I've never
not
seen an insect pony.
wings.
An
Well,
insect
bats-
pony. I haven't seen
Bats
one.
are actually mammals. Let's get that straight. Bats are
I
mammals.
wasn't claiming they're not. I just mean like if you have Pegasi with different sorts of wings, what other sorts of wings would there be?
No,
Wings.
they're still ponies, but they're just probably not completely. If you think about it, they're probably not even completely compatible with each other. If you go that route.
You're saying they're 3/5 a pony.
That's zebras, you idiot.
Well, hey, they're only 20% cooler, so.
So they're 4/5 a pony. Got it.
There you go. But yeah, man, I don't believe in the whole vampires. Portion of it. It just makes zero sense to me.
Well,
Yeah, they're
see,
more
and the
If
thing
they were
with
actually
bats-
vampires, they would have been hunted to extinction in Equestria
Well,
for
but see,
assault on ponies.
the thing is, most bats actually eat off of fruit or insects.
Exactly.
Anyway, there's only 3 species of bat that will go after blood.
Exactly.
2 only go after avians, and the third, there's only one whole species out of thousands and thousands of species of bats that will actually go after mammalian blood, and they usually go after cattle, not humans.
Right,
So-
but even so, it's just the whole vampire mythos and everything. But it's
Well,
just
it
like,
wouldn't
I
even
never agree
be.
with it. Even mine are based off of fruit bats, where they not even just where it's fruit is their primary source. It's just that God, they fucking love fruit. Like
Especially
it's like
pineapple.
cocaine to them. Well, specifically, Stella who loves the pineapple, but it's just fucking
Fuck
it's
you,
cocaine
fuck.
to them.
Fuck you,
I
Flame.
love pineapple.
Oh, God.
And I think this kind of covered some of the other things we answered, like that I asked, like what are some of the good ways the fandom has handled that pony, bad ways, like. So, I think that answers pretty much everything except why Stella's so awesome.
And I don't know. That portion's up for you guys to decide.
Well,
Well, Puss's art is
The
pretty
only-
good.
well, the
Never
only way
appeared
I
tits,
would
that's
say-
why.
What were you gonna say, Rab?
I was gonna say, I think probably what the appeal is for the character is that she's so outside the norm, and not just a little bit, like to the extreme. You know, she lets her mouth fly like we wish we could let our dicks fly.
Yeah, no, you're right. She's vulgar. She doesn't give a shit. She doesn't.
Well, yeah, I mean, my
Very-
favorite instance of her period is is in the short story De-Stressing, when she's chewing out
Oh.
her superiors for basically
Yes.
jerking each other off and passing her up for promotion. And I
Yes.
fucking love that scene. I
Yes.
laughed so hard at it.
I did too. She just gave him that Riley Freeman "fuck you" speech.
Mm-hmm.
Just that.
But no, that's what makes her a great character, and I've been trying to like formulaically come up with not a similar character, but a character that stands out. So, you know, I go through and you pick some extremes of things.
There wasn't
okay.
a huge formula to create her, so I wouldn't
Oh,
even put. I wouldn't
I
even.
know.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, I wouldn't try to like put a lot of formula into that. Literally,
no.
if you put her down to base, all she is just someone who drinks a lot and verbally assaults people. Like that's
Well,
it.
I know, but that's exactly that's
Yes.
what the formula is. Is you took the key points that you wanted about her character and pushed them beyond what they would be in a normal person. and
Right.
left all of her other traits basic.
For the most part. And then I just expanded on them later. But yes, that's exactly what I did.
Well, and that
Hilariously,
too.
he was conceived when I was drunk. So that was like the greatest product of it.
You're just
Oh,
drunk.
God.
It's like, man, what if I just made this bat pony that's just
It's batshit crazy.
You literally are not off by much when you say that. Because I was still writing my best friend Luna at the time, because that's when she made her debut. And I'm just like, shit, I need another character. And I was like, what if she's a lunar guard, so she has to be a bat pony? Okay, so what's so good about her? Well, she swears a lot. Okay, sure. Then I was like, okay, so then what does she sound like? I took a bunch of inspiration from like 4 different sources. I'm like, at first she was, as I revealed in some trivia, she was actually supposed to
German.
have a German accent.
Oh, that wouldn't work.
And her name was not supposed to be Stella. It was actually supposed to be Chrysanthemum. And she was supposed to be like an enormous, calm voice of reason, and I completely diverged from that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, Flame, here's an idea. Stella meets Chrysanthemum.
Oh, that actually already kind of happens. Chrysanthemum is going to be a backgroundish character, and she has one scene with him, and it's going to be great. Or with her, and it's going to be great.
Like, wait, just break the fourth wall for a second. Wait a minute. This was supposed to be me?
No. Just the name will pop up, and you'll just know eventually when you see it. It's not going to be... I'm not drawing attention to it, but it'll just be a nice, funny little scene in her character. But
So basically, you're circle jerking yourself at that point.
Yes.
not even that. I'm going to use the name Chrysanthemum because it sounds like a quintessential pony name, to be honest.
Hmm.
Like, if you think about it, like, I can't think of a better name than fucking Chrysanthemum for just like a happy-go-lucky pony.
Now we can, with the name you did choose, though, whenever she has a party, you can always say she has a celebration.
Okay, you know what? That's actually not bad. I'll give you that.
You forgot. Wait.
I won't yell at you for that.
You don't. Wait, Flame. I stole that from the billboards we saw there on the way home. You don't remember?
It didn't say a celebration on the fucking billboard.
It said celebration. Then another one said Stellaween.
Really?
Yeah, you don't remember?
Then that's some gay fucking bullshit.
You said that right? That's what you said when we saw it.
You and I discussed that Frederick is eventually going to tell how Stella's going to be like, is my name common in the human world? And he'll be like, yes, actually, a lot of humans are named that. Plus, you're named after an alcohol. And she's going to light up like a Christmas tree. And she's like, really? And am I an awesome alcohol? It's like, no, you're actually a pretty cheap fucking wine. But...
Yeah.
And then
I think
but then she's going to be like, but I taste good, right? And he's going to be like, yeah, well, you're technically, well, by their statistics, you're America's favorite. And she'll be like, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Also, didn't I also suggest that she doesn't like the taste, but she'll like it out of spite just because of the name.
Yeah, and then there's going to be a slight, I wouldn't say fourth wall breaking, but a referencing when her sister asks the same question, is my name common in the human world? And then she's going to be like, no, yours is a name for people who are weeaboos. Who for people, you are known amongst the weeaboo community. And she'll be like, God damn it.
Wait. You mean the character that I told you
yes.
that I love?
Yes.
You guys are just pouring shade at each other.
Exactly that.
I actually gave him the name for Sveta.
It was, yes, he was actually the source of it because I was debating between 5 different names for her, and he's just like, you know what, do this because it's technically, what was it, like a Japanese way of saying Stella, so it's kind of a callback to it. So I'm just like, you know what, fuck it, I'll do that. So he's technically the source for it.
Speaking of weebs, did you ever play the Panzer Medals game?
Yes, I did. I played it once, believe it or not, and I had just wide eyes the entire time going, what the fuck is happening? Like, that shit was oddly well done in some areas. Like, and I'm just like, what is happening?
There's another one, and for the love of me, I cannot remember what it's called. But all
They
these
had
middle
one that
school
said-
girls are
yeah.
just like living guns.
Oh, I know that one. That one's called Upete.
Oh
Upote.
yes.
Yes. But yeah, fucking that. I turned essentially a character who's only supposed to appear a couple times into somewhat of a paragon of just shit and fuckery. So take that as you will, but I'm mildly proud of that, I suppose.
You should be.
Only mildly proud of it.
Only
Well,
mildly?
Only mildly. Because I know if I'm extremely proud of it, I'm gonna want to put more of her out there. But the more I put her out of her, the more chance a picture on Derpy Buru is gonna show up with her having a penis. And the day that happens, I'll know she has reached critical mass, and I'm just like, okay, you know what? This is just, God.
Wait, you
I'm
didn't? Are you
tempted
telling
to
me
do
that?
that just to see what you do.
Are you telling me, Flame, that you didn't hang up that image I made of Stella for you?
Wait, which one was that? Oh, that
I
one?
remember-
No. You didn't make it, asshole. You had someone else make it for me.
No,
Let us not give you fucking
Not
credit
that
for
one.
administrative skills that you don't
No,
deserve.
Not that one. The one that Puss draw that I then edited.
Oh yeah, that one. That was a shitty edit, though. All you did was put a Stahlhelm on her, and like not even in a good way.
I think I also increased the size of her chest.
Did you really? I don't think so.
I think so. It's been a while.
No idea. But yeah, I did actually find one or two pictures of her that I did not know about, and they were actually okay pictures. So I'm just like, oh, that's cool.
They didn't
Well, I
throw a
think this
schlong on
makes-
her.
Well, since we're getting on such extreme topics, I think this actually does really well for our next one.
Yes.
What are some ways you have forced yourself to go outside your comfort zone, and how has it benefited you in the long run?
Oh, outside my comfort zone. Let's see. So, what has made me go outside my comfort zone? What was it again? Or how have I gone outside my comfort zone? What was the beginning portion?
Either or. I mean, what has made you go outside your comfort zone, or how have you pushed yourself outside of it?
Well, what's made me go outside my comfort zone in some areas because I just want to expand my writing into different areas I don't necessarily have much experience with. So there's that. And it essentially brought me new ways to pull back imagery into my normal stories, and this influenced my style enough where I can just say, oh, well, that was dreadful to write. I'm going to take my lessons to heart and not do this shit again. and I incorporate that into my main, more comfortable works, and that's kind of how it helps. Or I find out that I'm actually pretty good at something, and I want to continue it. It's kind of how I delve into more serious fics all the while.
So what
many-
about the rest of us? How have you guys pushed yourselves?
I mean, it's not so much art related, but I think in some ways doing this, because I'm not great with people, but I feel like doing these streams help me out.
There was the one time where I was writing this cloth fic for so long that it was draining my life force.
Wait, which
You
is
know,
That's right. I forgot about that.
Man, ways I've forced myself to go outside my comfort. Not really art related, but more of ways I've had to deal with college with like a really shitty class I took that I had to take it so I could get to later classes. And the professor I had was horrible, so I had to end up teaching myself all of calculus too. And that was fucking brutal. I had to go outside a lot of comfort zones and basically become the professor. And it's benefited me and that helped me to.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Kyrie, we know you're not dead.
What? What was the question? I'm not paying attention. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can tell. In what ways have you pushed yourself to go outside of your comfort zone, or any projects you've worked on that have made you go outside of your comfort zone and that you've benefited from?
Pretty much, there was a art piece that I did for Seven back a couple months ago. I still haven't finished it, but it's very outside of my comfort zone because of the art style that I was doing it in. Because it
No,
was super.
I thought you were gonna say it was because he had to fuck famous in order to do it.
No, I would have been totally okay with that. I mean, he pretty much fucks famous on a daily, so.
Check.
So, no, it was a thing of Widowmaker, but I was doing it more realistically than more cartoonish than I'm used to. So it was very challenging, and as far as I got through it, because I kind of put it on hold because I didn't feel like working on it anymore, it actually looks really fucking good. So I pushed my way through it. It was not comfortable to draw in that style, but I still got through it as much as I did, and I go back to it every now and then to like work on it.
Yeah, I can definitely relate. I have a couple of pieces that I do every so often that I work on, and it's like, okay, I work on it, but it's not good enough. It's not where I want to be, so I put it down, and I go off and I do other things, and I come back to it, and I'm like, oh, well, I can do this better, and it looks good, up until I reach that point where I'm like, oh, I don't have the skill to do what I need to do, and then I put it down and pick it back up again later. I wouldn't say that's so much me going outside of my comfort zone. What's really going to sound weird is, you know what pushed me outside my comfort zone?
What's that?
Drawing porn.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. You wouldn't think it coming from me, but I was not comfortable drawing porn, which is hilarious considering the size of my porn folder at the time that I had tried. It's just it was like one of those mental barriers that you just kind of have to push yourself through, and it was just pushing through. And it took me like 3 or 4 drawings before I just am like, whatever. But thinking back, I think the last drawing that I've done where I was actually comfortable doing it was the Rainbow Dash Taste the Rainbow drawing that I had done, almost a month ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the last time I'd drawn anything porn, and honestly, I did not feel uncomfortable doing it.
So wait, was it just like you already had a huge folder, but you're just at that point where it's like, man, I don't know if I should be doing this?
It's the difference between kissing your girlfriend and fucking her for the first time. That's about the best way I can explain it.
I got it. Yeah.
She's already there and waiting for you, and she'll allow you to do it, but it's still not quite comfortable yet.
Right,
until you start doing it, and then it just takes off from there.
Ideally.
Thanks, Enigma.
That was kind of different between me and Seven, but I'm not going to elaborate on that.
All right. Anybody else have anything to share?
Don't think so.
No. I expected Andrew to speak up.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose if I did have one, it was kind of when I needed to put together a show together for my my senior seminar, where I basically, part of the deal of it is that in order to pass through it, you're basically, as part of a deal with a whole bunch of the other students in the seminar, throughout the course of the semester, everyone gets to use this one exhibition room for about a week or two. That is part of like the main art museum that the classes are taught in. And putting that together was probably one of the more nerve-wracking and sort of self-questioning things I had to do, in part because it was one of those things where everything had to be done. Like I had to put up at least some token amount of posters to say, hey, I have a thing happening. There's also the process of, one, I had to go through and make enough pieces of art to justify using the space, which was nerve-wracking on its own. And then there was the time that came into just putting the pieces up.
Mm.
And then there's discovering all the things that can be so fucking hard to do just because of things like sometimes some pieces of adhesive don't work. Sometimes you mess up and you got to learn to just deal with spackling up over holes, redirecting lights, adding in some personal shit I was going through at the time. It was really hard, but as much as it pushed my boundaries, it was extremely rewarding to finally be able to do. Just because it's one of those things that it kind of asked, how much can I do? How much am I willing to do? How much am I willing to compromise in order to be able to do this thing? Because much like how in art, you don't always get to draw what's in your head. When it came to putting on the exhibition, I couldn't put everything in that I would have wanted. I couldn't finish all these projects. And in one case, I kind of had to take a leap, and I just did a thing where I put up several pieces of basically tiny paintings, put them in an arrangement without pre-planning them, just put them together and hope they worked. And funnily enough, it wound up being the piece that apparently, according to the book I'd left to sign, it was the thing that drew in the most people, even though, funnily enough, it was the thing that I questioned the most.
Oh God, don't you love that? You put up your least efforted piece, and everybody's like, "Oh wow, that's so amazing! How did you do it?"
And it's like,
so you're just sitting there trying to bullshit. It's an expression of my existential crisis, this blah 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 period of my life, and I figured I would appeal to the more romantic side of society while doing it, and basically it's just a string of bullshit just flying out of your mouth.
Yeah.
I'm not lying.
and funnily enough, it is one of those things where I think I remember hearing someone put it to me in a way that it actually kind of makes sense after a fashion, because when you're trying to make something grand with some of your other projects, with your dream project, the problem is that you're trying to make something grand. When you just fart something out, it usually means you're actually kind of decent at that kind of thing, and you just don't think about it. You don't want to be good at that thing, but there you go.
Oh, that's... You farted out. Okay. Anybody else have a share after farting out something good?
Oh man, I don't know, Enigma. Could you top that, or did you fart out anything good?
Did I fart on anything today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any good farting stories?
I mean, there was one time where I trusted a fart too damn much.
Oh god.
Well, you expected it to not make too much noise, and wham!
No, I expected it not to make a mess.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, we're gonna move on from that. Next question is: have you ever participated in any art competitions, and if so, how did they go? Flam, I think you can insinuate some other like writing competition from that, but go ahead.
Oh, well, I won a competition that I didn't even sign up for.
That's not one to go.
In fact,
Luigi's Mansion?
it was a portion of 2016's Bat Pony competition when I wrote De-Stressing.
Huh.
I wrote that on Thanksgiving evening, and I wrote it all on Thanksgiving evening.
Jesus.
Basic Edits published it, and then next day someone's like, "Hey, this was a really good story. It could be a good candidate for the Bat Ponies competition. You interested?" And I'm just like, "Fuck it, why not?" And I ended up getting fanpick by like a very, very, very wide margin.
That's that is an omen. That was just an omen of how.
Oh, I think I remember when that came out.
Guys, I think I won that competition.
Wait, with which story?
What?
You didn't
How
win.
did you
Actually.
win?
Hold on, let me see. I found the.
No, I'm legitimately curious. How the hell did you win? I mean, Pencil's been shitting on your writing since.
You didn't win
Since
that.
we
You didn't win
introduced
that Bat Pony competition. You may have won another competition, probably.
I remember I won one competition and it involves bat ponies. I'm thinking if it's that one or not.
You literally wrote one Bat Pony who was fucking high ground, and you.
No, it wasn't that story. It was a commission story that I entered that happened to have bat ponies in it. And I entered it because bat ponies. And I remember I won something because I was given a fucking gift card later on.
Oh god, the luck of the stupid. Okay.
Found it.
So what it? So was it just you? Was it just you won the competition, Flam, or was there actual prizes for it?
Yeah, it was a $25 Amazon gift card.
Nice.
Yeah, same.
So yeah, that's how that happened for a competition I didn't even enter. So there you go. Fucking Stella memes shit into existence.
Oh god. Well, we'll go ahead and draw Kyrie back in here. Kyrie, did you ever win anything?
In art, or is this in anything?
An art.
No.
Aw.
I wish, but no, I never won anything in art.
Pero why?
All right. What about anything else you've won? Have you got an interesting story behind those?
I mean, when I was like less than one, my mom put me in beauty pageants and I won every one.
No. What?
Nice.
You weren't even.
So it's ass backwards into fame.
Yes, exactly. But I was like the star child of everyone, and actually one of my middle school friends was in that competition, and when she found out she was up against me in several of those competitions, she actually like unfriended me because I beat her at less than 1 year old.
Oh god. Oh Jesus.
I once won a raffle. Does that count?
If it's got an interesting story, yeah.
I entered a raffle and I won.
Huzzah!
Man, that story had everything. Romance, adventure.
Well, hold on. No. What kind of camera did you win to stock us with?
I think I actually won a book about cakes or something. This is about 5 years ago, but yeah.
No, how to bake cakes to give the people you want to stock.
Yeah, it has hide roofies in it and stuff.
Okay, never mind. I did not win. I was a runner-up. I found the thing.
Who won?
Here we go.
Now we'll never know who won.
That picture with the rose is mine.
What about you, Andrew? Any competitions you won for art?
Well, I've never won a art competition per se, but I have won a competition using my art. When I think I was 17 at the time. I was basically in the teenage division for a competition held for the National Association of Rocketry. And part of one of the deals with it was that those who are in the B division, which is basically the teenagers, there is a category which is R&D, research and development, and how it worked was it's one of the things where the idea is like, okay, you basically, run a little experiment, and see what it does, and you do a presentation on it. And I guess this is actually something where I actually also push my limits. But basically, what I did was, because I am not a scientist, what I did instead was I drew a comic based around the safety guidelines for model rocketry. And I put that together, and I spent, I think it was the week leading up to the moment I had to hand it in. I was constantly doing drawing, coloring, scanning, etc., to finally put it together, and eventually kind of bullshitting together this kind of outline to go with it, with a little bit of help from my sister. And I was extremely tired by the time I finally handed it in, because I had not slept in the course of 2 days.
Jesus.
So what wound up happening was I handed that in. Eventually, a few days later, I did a presentation. And what was cool about the R&D for the B division was that there was a financial incentive. And what wound up, I won second place out of 3, but it was still second place. And I got money, and I used it to buy an Xbox.
Nice.
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 X-Backs. Bastard.
Yes.
All right. Tony?
I've been in a few competitions before. Let's see. I've won. In 8th grade, I was geography B, and at my middle school, and it was down to just me and one other guy, and they run for like this quick match. It's like best of 3, and I won 2 of them, and I think the other guy didn't get any of them right, actually. But and then after that, I had to take this really big test to move on to state geography B, and sadly, I didn't make it. Sadly.
Do raffles count as competitions?
Yeah, exactly.
Not really.
I mean, you're
Because-
competing with your luck.
Yeah, who does God like best?
Who has the best luck?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like competing against a billion other people that play the Powerball in the lottery.
I wouldn't call that a contest or competition, because that's just random probability.
Well, I can say that for myself, I've only ever won 2 competitions. One of them I don't think I even realized was a competition. And I was in 1st grade arts class. I guess basically they told us, okay, we want you to do some kind of a scene that represents and whatnot, right? Because they were on the whole save the dolphins and the whales kick, and somehow Alaska had something to do with that. I basically did on a purple background, I think it was purple anyways, a dude in a coat next to an igloo, and then I guess the kicker was we had to use salt water in order to make this thing complete somehow. And I did. I used the salt water to depict the snow, so when you turned it from side to side, it was glittery without the glitter. And that was I got a voucher for a $5 book at a local bookstore.
What book
I
did
can
you
even
get?
I can even go back to my hometown and point out where that shop used to be. That's how long ago that was. The only other one I was in was in college art, and I did not expect to win. Like we knew we had our 5 pieces that we were going to submit, and we knew for a fact that, hey, this can be part of it was kind of a competition in a way. They had some judges come in from some art schools and whatnot. And so for the whole time, we had to line up all our pictures outside in the hall for them to pick up and put out and all that other fun stuff. What really made it anxious for me was I got told that the head judge was walking by and scanning the pictures, and apparently mine was the only one she did this to, but she stopped dead in front of mine, and she said, grab that one. And then she moved on. And I got told about that, and I'm like, oh shit, I might actually have a shot at this for once, because I don't win competitions, like, ever. And so then the show night comes up, and they're giving out awards, best painting, best in this class. Kyrie, I can hear myself.
Sorry.
So anyways, we're getting down to the drawing class, and they had best overall in art, right? And I'm not surprised it was a painting. But out of drawing 1, 2, and 3, I got first place, and I was only in drawing 1.
Oh, damn.
That was the weirdest feeling in my life.
Nice.
Especially since I was pitted up against people who are so much better at drawing realistically than me.
How'd you win? Did you just bang the judge or something?
No. I was the only one who wasn't afraid to use dark tones with my pencil. That's the only thing I noticed that a lot of my classmates would not do. They didn't use the darker shades of the pencils they were using, like, at all. And so that's what I did, was I made a certain few parts of it focus on using those darker, softer pencils, and I'll admit it looks really damn good, and I spent a lot of time on it. But like I said, I'm really surprised it won. Like, there were pieces in there I thought were so much better than mine.
There is one question though. What book
Huh.
would you buy with that $5 book voucher? Unanswered question.
I don't
actually, I think you can actually buy the Communist Manifesto for $3.
Really?
If I had that kind of sense of humor when I was 7 years old, I would have.
Wait, money is evil.
Communist Manifesto, aka why the fuck do everything cost money?
Well, I mean,
I'm done.
Well, and that's the thing that really kind of made me sad, was it was only $5 to get a book, and it was like, you're giving $5 to a 7-year-old kid to go into a bookstore. This book was 3 inches by 4 inches, and it was a pop-up book about predatory animals eating things.
Yeah, but you were probably
that was the only book in that entire store that I could buy with that little voucher.
Man, and you were probably thinking, damn it, I just want some Harry Potter shit.
No, my parents were ultra religious, and I didn't get into Harry Potter until like the last 5 years.
No.
Oh, right. I remember you telling me.
Yeah.
But at least now you know all about big predators.
No, it was more like poetry and pop-ups and about eating, and it was one predator eating another predator, and the effects they suffered from it, and it just went on and on and on. I might actually still have that book. My mom's got this big chest of like all the stuff that we used to have as kids, so it's probably in there.
Well, hey, if you'd spent $5 on buying a copy of Twilight, then you wouldn't have spent $5 too many.
Yeah.
Too bad you didn't live in a time of cheap-ass ebooks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm old as fuck. Okay.
So
although you know what else would have been nice to spend $5 on?
A blowjob?
A candy bar.
The Barcast Patreon.
Donating to the
Oh my
Barcast.
God, no.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
fuck
Yeah,
you.
it's shilling time. It's shilling
It's not like
time.
a witch's cackle.
This is the spooky cast, by the way. So
Yeah, as spooky as it gets.
It's too spooky sometimes.
God damn
Okay,
it.
so for
AC.
everybody who's watching, please donate to the Barcast Patreons. None of the proceeds go to us. They're all it's all donations going straight to the Red Wings Horse Sanctuary in California. I don't remember what city. And so yeah, we're supporting one entire horse. That's all of his food, all of his shots, and everything else, from what I've been told. And we're supposed to be getting a letter from him pretty soon.
Sweet.
Yeah. Big shock. The horse's name is Big Mac. But if you don't like supporting horses, you can support the other Patreons that are on this, including mine, which I use to pay for this show and keep it up and going. You can support Enigmas if you really want to. I mean, if you've got that kind of money that you can just toss in the garbage.
If you're burdened by money, I'll take care of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you put it in the bottom of your trash can, he'll probably root through for it. So, there's always the entertainment value for that.
Yeah.
What if I hide it under a bunch of rotting pineapple?
I don't know. That'd be interesting. It'd be watching him fight for it. It'd be like, money but pineapple. Money but pineapple. Okay. So now that we've done all the shilling we care to do.
That'd be a good game show, though. There's a load of pineapples, and some of them are money inside.
No, what would be a good game show is if you put fake pineapples and real acid around the outsides of them. So it's like it's not just citric acid, the ultra strong shit that pineapples have, but like straight up, if you stick your hand through here, you will get shit.
Oh yeah, sulfuric acid sounds good.
Someone make that quick.
The Japanese might have done it. I mean, if you've seen their game shows.
Okay, dude, I've worked with a concentrated sulfuric acid before. That shit will eat through paper towels. You do not want to fuck with that stuff. It will fuck your
Through
skin.
paper towel.
I
Woohoo.
could eat a paper towel.
No, I mean it burns its way through a paper towel. Like it just.
So does stomach acid if you give it long enough.
It takes seconds for it to get through a paper towel.
I hope your stomach acid isn't one of those. Oh, I guess it's vomit. Yeah. I was thinking like you've been disemboweled or something.
Your stomach acid. What did they say? There's a unique property of stomach acid, and I don't remember what it was, but I think they said that it's one of the strongest naturally occurring acids, if I'm not too full of shit.
Fucking Flam. Yeah.
All right. So next topic. Oh God, what is this? If you spin an Oriental, do they become disoriented?
I believe it's disorientated. Fucking Americans.
You're retarded, aren't you?
Me or him?
All of us.
Well, I mean,
disorientated.
So it's kind of a given.
Disorientated.
Yeah. And from what I've heard, it is. And
hey, the only retarded thing about you, Alex, is that you changed away from that cute Luna picture, you asshole.
What? Fuck you.
Dude, and he changed it.
Oh, the one where she's drinking from a juice box?
Yeah, it's so fucking adorable.
I'm sorry.
That's whenever I see that picture, that's Alex.
Not anymore.
It's still that on Film Fiction.
Well, Seventh never does anything on fiction.
Okay, we'll move on to the next less racist topic. If someone with multiple personalities threatens to kill himself, is it considered a hostage situation?
Oh God.
Oh god. You know what I just thought of is what if it's like Inside Out where one of the emotions threatens to kill itself? Would that technically be suicide?
No, it'd be more like banging your head against the wall to kill a few brain cells. So I don't think it would be suicide in a sense.
Or would it be the equivalent of getting a lobotomy?
I'm trying to think of a place to go with this. It's funny, and it ain't happening. Alright. If a hen and a half could lay an egg and a half in a day and a half, how long would it take a monkey with a wooden leg to kick all the seeds out of a dill pickle? Well, that depends. Is he a one-legged monkey or what? Or is he a 1.5-legged monkey? Because, I mean, you gotta kick it with something.
1.5-legged, so he has half a leg.
Fucking long time. Stick in there, you know, like dangling your knee over something and hoping that it'll hit something.
One or other.
I mean,
the next question I can give an answer for.
If you try to fail and succeed, which have you done?
Well, that's happened.
Breaks every AI here, but okay.
Well, you know, I've done that before. There have been times where I just wanted to just do something absolutely terrible. I end up working. It ends up working. So that is a good question to ask.
Yeah.
But I mean, if ultimate, well, hang on. If you try to fail and succeed, which have you done? Well, I mean, it depends on how you're using the word succeed. If my goal was to fail and I failed, then that would be a success based on what I was going for. But if I failed something, if my goal was to fail something and I didn't fail something and I succeeded at something, then I failed my goal.
I would like to apologize to our AI overlords for viewing this footage.
I am the same.
Yeah, we killed all their censor bots. Okay,
it was specifically put in there.
Okay, our next topic comes from Vylon.
Ooh.
How are modified works sometimes much more amazing than the original, as evidenced by Mozart's Lech den Ach fein Recht schon sauber?
Flam, can you help us with that?
Yeah, it's like I don't German.
Where's the... Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't, so I'm gonna go play it in the next thing for our audience to hear, because I don't know what it is.
Oh yeah,
how do you say that?
Where the fuck is Vylon saying? There it is. Leck mir den Arsch fein recht und sauber. Okay. So this is essentially a this is a shit. The Mozart was a great shit poster. The entire German nation has an acquired fetish for poop. I don't know how. They do. It is literally an acquired fetish spanning an entire nation. Now, way back when, Mozart wrote a play on words for a popular piece at the time, which essentially is Leck mir den Arsch fein recht schon sauber, which roughly translates to lick me in the ass, get it all nice and clean, get it all beautifully clean, very loosely translated to that. And it's pretty much just telling, I believe he had a feud with someone when he wrote this, but it's pretty much telling the other person to go fuck off and lick his ass.
Well, I mean, didn't he have a feud with the king at that point?
I forget what it was.
Or not the king.
Honestly,
He was like the pope or some shit.
I forget what it was, but yeah, he wrote that kind of as like an epic rap battle of history, I suppose. And
way back
yeah.
when.
Way back when. Hell, I told you. I honestly believe it's the entire German nation. Hell, Martin Luther, with priests who would disagree with him, he would wipe his ass and then put the toilet paper on their doors. I'm not joking.
Oh, so you mean the 95?
This is the motherfucker who founded Protestantism.
Yes, I know who he is. I was raised Lutheran.
Yes, so he would wipe his ass and put the shit stained whatever cloth he used on dissenters' doors.
I can see that happening.
So yeah, and
Hey,
essentially, but that for more serious things, some things are just better than the original because they either take a more ridiculous overtone to it, or they're much more well thought out than the original. That's about it.
You have any case in point?
Other than that song, I can't think of any on the top of my head right now. But I can't think of any on the top of my head right now. But that to me, that would be the reason why such a thing with a modified work would be much better than the original. It tends to happen more in games than it does in writing, I think, with a game sequel as opposed to
Well, I mean, a lot of people argue that Metroid Prime is so much better than any of the games that came before it, and
arguably better than some of the ones that came after it.
Yeah,
it still baffles me how the Nintendo Wii could have worse graphics than the GameCube. Like, it actually astonishes me. The GameCube, I think, still has the best looking graphics of any Nintendo system to date.
Even better than the Switch?
Even the Nintendo Switch.
Jesus.
Well, I mean, I miss my GameCube. I really do.
I do as well.
Then again, it may have been the different studios it may have been different production studios, but regardless, the graphics and the fluidity of the first Metroid Prime games done on the GameCube were so much better than Prime 3. What?
Ravage, would you be interested in the GameCube then? Because I have one with me. I don't know if it works, but it looks like in fine condition.
No, because I have a Wii and I can play Metroid Prime on there, and I'm not stuck with the shitty controls of I can't fucking look up. I tried emulating Metroid Prime on my computer recently, and now I know why I like the Wii version better. It's because I can actually fucking look up and down and scan things that are up and down that I couldn't before.
Well, it's called you hold the left bumper and then you pull the stick back and you can look up.
I know.
There's always a way, Rav.
I don't know. I like the game's controls better on the Wii than I did on the
Wii U.
GameCube, but
the Wii was much too sensitive for anything for me to get done.
Really?
Yeah. Let's hold this thing out and let's just turn it just a little bit. Whoa, I turned all the way. Why is the sensitivity all the way down? You mean I can't turn it any more down? Fuck.
Yeah, that's the only thing I will say. Oh, there's a way around that. Even though you can't do it in the settings, the sensor bar is not a sensor bar. It's two little heat nodes. That's really all it is, and the controller reads the infrared heat from it. So if you take two T lights and you put them on either side of your TV screen, you can fool it into thinking that the TV is either bigger or smaller than it actually is.
Got it. That's actually an interesting workaround.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have the sensor bar plugged in anyways, but, you know, you can still get around that little problem. So if it's oversensitive, I would say, you know, get a candle or get two things that get really hot, or not terribly hot, but yeah, you get what I mean.
Right.
But back on the subject of corruption, I never actually finished that game, even though it's okay. I don't know. I mean, the first Prime game had a lot, and I mean a lot of nostalgia for me. That's the only reason I go back and play it, is because that's one of the first games I had on the GameCube, besides Sonic Adventure 2 Battle and Super Smash Bros. Melee, and I put so many hours into that game, it's retarded. But, Prime is where I spent the majority of my time playing. And Prime 2, I wanted so bad when it came out. And only years and years later, now I'm actually able to play it. And I honestly think Prime 2 was a better addition. Like, it had better concepts and much longer levels, and I honestly didn't mind the backtracking as much. And 3 was just kind of... 3 was too gimmicky. I mean, it was really, really too gimmicky for a Prime game.
I find that kind of funny because for me, the first Prime game that I finished was 3. And I think kind of funnily enough, some of what I enjoyed was some of the gimmicky stuff, like I suppose the turning locks thing was, that's not that entertaining, but there were some things about it that was very satisfying, like
I'm not
use
saying
the
those.
nunchuck to tear off shields and stuff like that.
Oh, no, I don't mean those ones. I mean the entering in a code manually into your computer and having to guide her finger literally to push in this code for what was it, a destination or a lock code or some shit like that. And it's like, I really don't want to do this.
No, I understand. Yeah, that's why I always wish Prime 3 would have been on the GameCube. I honestly believe it would have been better.
Yeah, I will agree there. I don't know. I
Looking
think
forward to Prime 4, though.
I'm hoping they make 4 more like 1 and 2.
Well, it'll probably be different. It's coming out for the Switch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
all we've seen is the title screen.
Yeah, so I've got zero hope for it anyway. So I'll just be watching someone do an entire playthrough on YouTube.
Well, I mean, if you've got a 3DS, I would highly recommend playing Samus Returns. It is quite fun.
It's a much more beefed up and more modern version of Super Metroid, essentially. So, or Metroid 2. Metroid 2, excuse me.
Yeah.
I would say it's almost... It's one of those things where Samus Returns, I would barely even say it's a remake, as it kind of reimagines things very heavily. Like, obviously, like, the core concept of you go and kill the Metroids and it follows the basic story, but there are so many new things and things that they've done differently, and, like, bringing in things that have kind of been series staples since Metroid 2, that it feels almost completely different from playing the original Return of Samus.
Oh, of course, I'd imagine it.
Yeah.
Well, I should hope so. I mean, the original was on the Game Boy, not even the Game Boy Color, but
yeah, and like, and I'm not saying that to knock it or anything. I'm just saying, like, wow, it's kind of astounding to see sometimes, like, all the ways that they'll make things different or update things. It's honestly pretty nice.
The one thing I really like about the game is the free aim.
Yes, that was an excellent addition. I
enjoy the free aim. You see, I was wondering, like, I was looking up videos on it, right? And I'm thinking, well, how are they going to pull this off? Because if they allow the C-stick to be the free aim, then they've got to make it like a modern shooter. If they're going to do the gimmicky bullshit and make you have to use the fucking touchscreen to free aim, I'm going to lose my shit. Because you need to be able to jump, you need to be able to switch weapons and all this other fun shit. And if your thumb is like way over in the middle of the damn controller, trying to pretend it's a second thumbstick where it doesn't need to be, yeah, I'm glad they didn't do that. I'm still kind of peeved about you have to touch the center of your touchscreen in order to do Morph Ball. No, you should have made one of the shoulder buttons do that.
I mean, at least they still have, like, the double crouch does it like it's been in every other Metroid, though still it would have been nice if they had it, say, like, I remember this coming up before the stream, it would have been nice if for at least the new DS 3DS models if they had one of the ZL or ZR buttons be a short cut for Morthball.
Which one? Yeah, I can see that. Well, I mean the AM2R, which is actually quite a lot of fun.
I still need to play that. I have the most recent files downloaded, and I never installed it.
It's difficult.
So I've heard.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to play through it. I'm still stuck on the first Metroid because the controls are so old school. I'm having trouble fighting the damn thing.
Yeah, just play Zero Mission. You get the gist of it.
I have played Zero Mission, and I like it, honestly. Well, I mean, it's not the greatest one I've ever played, but it's still fun.
I've played through AM2R, and I would say it is a very fun game. Though, yeah, you have to know and be able to wield the controls well, just because, especially later on, they start throwing in bosses that they are pretty much like bullet hell, bullet spam. You have to have your controls well. You need to know how to aim. You need to know how to shoot. And it can be a little bit frustrating, but it's one of those things where it's frustrating but very satisfying to pull off.
So it is literally a game of it's more a game of skill than it should be.
I suppose a tiny bit, but I would say it's something that I find myself able to appreciate. I mean, it's and thankfully there is still stuff where, of course, because it's Metro, you can mitigate it by, finding energy tanks and missile upgrades and all that.
Yeah, after fighting the Queen Metroid earlier this afternoon, I am really glad I found all those energy tanks. Holy shit. Which is funny, too, because for this whole time I was trying to figure out the patterns for beating her. I looked at my health bar right after I killed her, and I still had most of my health, and I'm like, what the fuck? I've been spending 30 minutes trying to figure out how to kill this thing, and when I do, I'm only barely hurt.
It's the nature of the beast.
I guess.
It's sometimes it's you just gotta drill in the patterns to your memory until you just realize you're able to do it without thinking about it.
See, there was one that really ticked me off. Oh, the first time it turns into a lizard, and it likes to crawl up the walls, and you gotta rip it down off the ceiling and shit with the grapple beam. That one was the most infuriating of all the Metroids that you have to fight in the game. That one, I think, was the one that pissed me off the most.
That was pretty frustrating on a first go. Yeah, I remember going through it several times before I finally got it down pat.
Oh, I did it more than several times. But let's see. Back to modified works getting better than the original. I can remember a modified work that was mildly better than the original, but still basically a giant fuck you. The ending to Mass Effect 3 was not much better than the original.
Yeah. We'd never forget the final boss, Marauder Shields.
Huh?
Marauder Shields. He was the final boss of Mass Effect 3.
I'm drawing a blank for some reason.
You don't know the meme about Marauder Shields?
No, I don't.
Okay, you know when you walk up to that giant space laser?
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then one last guy pops out to shoot you?
Yeah, oh, him.
Marauder Shields. He was the hero. He was the hero trying to prevent us from the horrible ending.
Let's see. I think another thing that would potentially apply to the idea of a modification might be parody or satire.
Yeah.
And I know there's things where it's I suppose a rather famous example. I've enjoyed Dragon Ball Z a little bit, but I would definitely say the thing that has kind of kept me around and enjoying it more is Team 4-Star with the Dragon Ball Abridged.
I don't know, man. well, I would have to agree with you because I watched. I got through all of the first section of Sword Art Online, and I loved it up until they got to the fairy world. But I heard about the abridged series, and I got shown the first, I think, 2 episodes. But it's the first episode that I absolutely love, so much better than the entire series put together. And it's only for the scene when the dude in the cape and the cloak, he's up there, and his final words are, "Oh yeah, and I disabled the profanity filter. Have fun with that." And then it's this really pregnant pause, and then you hear just one guy yell out from all these hundreds of thousands of players that are trapped in here, "We're fucked!" I had to pause it. I couldn't watch the rest of the episode. I was laughing so hard. I mean, we're talking. My stomach is cramping. That's how much I'm laughing. I loved it. It was an absolutely perfect moment in media, and I wish it had been. I wish they could get that kind of funny in non-parody media. You know, I've never laughed that much at anything that's been put out that hasn't been a parody or something.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, don't get me wrong. Deadpool was funny and full of satire and raunchy humor and everything else, but I didn't laugh half that hard.
well, yeah. Here's a question that I would ask. It's like in music, there's covers of songs, or like a group or an artist will cover someone else's song, and then of course there's also sampling, which is a whole another thing. Would that technically be considered a modified work?
I would say yes, because you are taking the basis of one work and changing it or transforming it in some way.
Right, because there's been several cases where I would hear a cover of a song where the original sometimes wouldn't even be that good, but the cover would actually be really, really, really good.
Oh, I have an example of this. Somebody did a cover for the Tetris song. Oh shit!
You mean? Well, actually,
I'll pull it up.
the Tetris song itself is actually a Russian song
Uh-huh.
from the 1800s called Korobeniki.
And what's funny is that in kind of a matter of fashion, it got transformed by its context in Tetris, because now most people don't think of it as a Russian folk song unless they've heard that trivia. They think of it as that one Tetris theme.
I just think of the Red Army choir of it.
All right, here's the theme, and yes, it's dubstep cancer, but it is so good.
Well, I'm very hesitant to click on it because it's dubstep.
Yeah, it's playing through mine now, so people can actually listen to it. But I freaking love it.
Then, of course, there's sampling, which is actually transformative or modified in very different ways. If you just sample a beat from something and build on it.
Oh, here's a good example of our current topic: the Spider-Man movies.
Well, the thing is, the Spider-Man movies were only made so Fox could hold on to Spider-Man a bit longer.
That one went right over my head.
I don't know. They only made the Spider-Man movies so they could squeeze out a bit more money out of Spider-Man before giving him back to Marvel.
Really?
Huh.
Oh yeah, that's right, because 20th Century Fox did own the rights to the film rights to Spider-Man up until Marvel finally took them back and started using it for their own purposes.
Was that before or after The Amazing Spider-Man?
I believe it was after The Amazing Spider-Man is when the rights finally went back to Marvel and they made I think it was Homecoming.
Oh, okay.
and like Civil War and things like that. When they could be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah. Another name for Homecoming is he's not having a homecoming, high school thing. He's homecoming back to Marvel.
I'm not surprised at that. I mean, I really liked the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I thought they were very, very well done. Homecoming was good for the most part.
Was that it? Was that all you had to shine in on?
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow. I like how Flame right here is just dead from boredom.
Yeah.
I'm here, no worries.
The boredom gassed him.
Like I got up and made myself a pizza and everything.
Okay.
While you guys were talking about fucking Metroid.
Yeah, I've taught myself a foreign language, and I've
Yes.
grown my hair out.
Alright.
Went to prison, served hard time, and now I'm back. You guys are still talking about Metroid.
Well, I mean, we could try to go into the physical properties of her arm cannon and how we can recreate it.
No. Explain to me. What I want to know is, What I want to know is, where the fuck does her body mass go when she morphs into a ball?
There are numerous videos that cover that. Go on YouTube.
Yeah, we probably need to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Okay, so I put the next topics up. Name the things that help you out of an emotional rut. And not the kind of rut that a goat gets into.
You should make that noise sometime, right?
No, I'm not making that noise. I do it too well, and for that I am ashamed. So anyways, how do you get out of an emotional funk? And we'll go straight to Flam for this.
I write or I work out. Usually both, actually.
At the same time?
No.
See, that'd be impressive. You sitting there doing push-ups and just nosing one letter at a time.
He's got one hand out. He's got the laptop on the hand, and he's doing the other. And while he's typing with one hand while he's doing squats.
I don't know. I think it'd be pretty impressive if he could do one-arm push-ups and then type with the other.
Yeah.
Anybody else got something to add to this?
Drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, that's
We know, Enigma. You're in Compton now. We know drugs and alcohol is a thing for you.
Not in Compton yet, but soon.
You just need to pull a Nate Dogg and smoke weed every day.
God damn, that thing will never die.
Probably not.
Smoke weed every day.
Rest in peace, Nate Dogg.
Flame actually sounded like he was being auto-tuned right there.
Hey, get auto-tuned.
Okay.
For me personally, it's shit. I've got several ways. Cooking, music can help. Both listening to music and playing music. Gaming. If I had time, I would sit down and write. But yeah, I like to vary it up. I don't like to use one method too much because that can kind of drag after a while. For me personally, and I guess it really depends on how I'm feeling.
All right. How about you, Alex?
They're not as what's the word? As refined as playing music.
Is your answer going to be just looking at the pictures of us?
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh.
And also eating.
oh, baby.
You know, I get
Like
the
my
feeling
picture?
that Alex has a poster that says, "Remember, you're here forever," and he's put pictures of us, and it forms out, "Do it for her."
Enigma.
That's a good idea.
Enigma. What if Alex is secretly Monica?
They're in cahoots.
Oh shit!
Well, I mean, anything that helps you get out of that particularly very toxic frame of mind is, I would say, as long as you're not harming anybody else, it doesn't matter what you do, you know.
I photoshopped myself into pictures of you guys.
Cutting your wrist while you listen to Linkin Park.
Well, you're not hurting anybody else, so I really don't care. Well, I mean, my ex was a cutter, so yeah, it was interesting. So I used to have to hide my knives when she'd come over.
Well, at least she didn't. Hopefully, she didn't cut you up.
No, she knows I'm not into that. She knew, well, knew, whatever. She knew I wasn't into that, and I made it very explicit to her that I wasn't. How about Kyrie?
What was the question?
So you
Seven
accepted
keeps
the trade,
talking
right?
over me.
I'm sure. Name the things that help you out of an emotional rut.
Oh, am I a good one to answer this bullshit? If you don't have anyone that's there that you can confide in, because that's what I do most of the time, is I confide in Seven, and he actually helps me out of emotional ruts and stuff like that. But find something that you know that you enjoy and do it. Like if you enjoyed when you were a kid, if you like chalking outside on the concrete, go do it. No one's gonna give a shit. You know, just do something that you knew you liked, and you know, maybe try something that you did when you were a kid, or you know, just try to get yourself out of that rut. Think of different things, draw, do something constructive, maybe clean the house. It is proven that if you do physical activity like running or exercise, it does release good endorphins in your brain. So exercising could be one way to get you out of a rut. That's all I've got to say on it.
Yeah, but we're asking specifically what you do.
What do I do? Like I said, I confide in Seven.
Mm. Well, I can't say so much for the physical activity. I mean, I get enjoyment out of it, but I can't say that it helps me take my mind off of it. If anything, it pushes me closer to a breakdown. Well, for example, this morning, I didn't even realize it was happening until it finally all just kind of came to a head. I was at work this morning, and I'm going over, you know, I'm just doing my regular thing. I'm pulling stuff out of the bins to put out on the floor. And I finally realized that all the bad feelings I'd been having over the last 5 days were a near constant anxiety attack.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I didn't even realize it. And it was making me paranoid on top of it. Like paranoid about things that I know I'm not, things that I know are not true, and so on and so on. And I'm not going to go into them because they're very deeply personal, and they very, very much disturbed me when it happened. But I finally realized what it was, and one of the things that helped me get through it, because I couldn't get to my release. I couldn't get to anything that would help me feel better. So the one thing I did to just kind of hold it off was to say, I'm not that person. I'm not going to be that person. You know, that paranoid thought that was overtaking me, you know, it was that I'm not that person. I'm not going to be that person. That's what held it off. And that's what kept me going until the feeling finally passed. But I will say that for me, the one thing that gets me out of an emotionally bad space is going back to the first 2 seasons of MLP. I'm not sure how often I've said this, but the My Little Pony show is actually what drugged me out of a very, very, very dark place in my life. It wasn't like there are people that have much worse stories than mine. But to liken myself to a story that I love quite a lot is Blackjack in Project Horizons, when she talks about the mattress, where she's stuck to the mattress, and it's basically the place she doesn't want to be. She's depressed. She doesn't want to get up. She doesn't want to do anything. And that's kind of where I was. Except my mattress was a couch. And so then I got introduced to the My Little Pony fandom. I had already watched the show, but when I got introduced to the fandom and I started reading the fanfics and I started getting into Fallout Equestria, that's what brought me out of it. And so to kind of relive the feelings of, this happy, joyful, really fun thing that I absolutely love, I go back and I watch some of my favorite episodes from the first 2 seasons.
That's something similar to me happened. When I first started getting into the show, I had a lot of, well, not when I first started getting into the show, but I had a lot of health problems lately, and just being around a bunch of other people like you guys, it really helped me out, get out of that emotional rut, because I was in this low because of my health issues. So just being able to listen to podcasts, read a bunch of cool shit, that was really what helped me out a lot. So, because it lets me get out of the fact I'm in this really bad spot, and it's like, my health's failing, all of this. So just being able to get away from that for a while really helps a lot. And yeah, that's sort of the reason why I've stuck around with the Barcasts, because just watching guys be a lot of shitlords to each other is really good entertainment. Get a few laughs out, and
yeah, I mean, even if we're bad at it, it helps.
Yeah, it does.
I'm referencing myself, by the way.
I'll be back.
Uh-huh.
Hold on a second.
Anybody else have a share? Remember, this is Alcoholics Anonymous. You get up there and you say your name, you say your piece, and we all clap.
I was gonna say that because I'm here for the driver's ed test, not for. This is AA. I was looking for AAA.
God.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose if I were to share a little bit, obviously it kind of varies, and I would again emphasize this is just kind of how I personally do things sometimes, which is that, like, naturally I will do things like listen to music or, play games or something, but sometimes I do need to just sit back for a moment and think. I know that it's not a good idea for people sometimes, and for me, it's not a good idea to do it for long. But sometimes I do need to process what I am going through first before I try to kind of recalibrate myself. And sometimes, so I'll do that. I'll sit back for maybe half an hour or so, and when I've kind of finally fully processed what I've been dealing with, what I'm having trouble with, I'll force myself up and I'll try to do something else to get my mind elsewhere. Sometimes I'll go get myself into a game. Sometimes what helps me to finally get up in that moment is, playing some music. In particular, I think the one piece of music that I feel like I've constantly been able to go to is one that I kind of deliberately save and not listen to often, just so I can have it there for the moments when I really need it, and that is the theme from The Inner Light, an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. If any of you are not aware, basically the premise of the episode is that the main guy, Captain Picard, is struck by this thing that basically forces him to. He becomes witness, lives out the life of this one man living on a world that is going to die. And so he lives out, the life of his family, what they're trying to do to, basically fling a light into the future and say that they were there. And during the course of it, what winds up happening is he picks up the flute of this one guy he's living the life of, and he learns to play it. And the song has this orchestral rendition that is beautiful, heart-wrenching, and carries the weight that you would expect the premise of that sort of story to carry. And it's the sort of thing where you would think that, oh, it's something that's about, the end of a civilization, the end of the world. But at the same time, because there's the sense of, yes, things are terrible, things may not work out, but I am going to tell this story anyway. We're going to keep going on. We're going to live and be the best kind of person that you can be, in spite of all the awful things, in spite of some of a certain and a certain death of all the things that you hold dear. You can still hold on and produce the best things you possibly can. Not because you are just making something for yourself in this life that you have, but because you can make something. There doesn't need to be a reason. It's just what you are. And whenever I listen to that song, I remember feelings like that. It takes the melancholy and it makes it into something useful, something productive.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's really great.
It's definitely not an easy topic to discuss and not one that everybody wants to hear, but it can be useful, which is why I wanted to bring it up. Everybody has something to bring to the table, so this is kind of our AA moment here. Talk to somebody if you can't figure something out. But on a lighter topic, I think Flam, you'll really enjoy this. The next topic is learn to make Russian accent while everyone listens.
Why though?
Because we all want to talk like Ivan.
No, I don't want to talk like Ivan.
Okay, Flame, seriously, sounding like you're
But
dying.
Ivan is good comrade.
No.
Yes, he gives best advice on how to shoot gun.
Oh, wait. Ivan, the motherfucker who puts that that reloading magazine that goes into a fucking circle for infinite bullets?
It's a C-clip, you fucking pleb.
Ooh, I'm back.
Waka waka.
I think I think you guys going to AA just like pulled the last of your steam out of you.
A little bit.
Like I'm just sitting back and just like, oh god, they're talking about their feelings.
Well, hey, we're not like you. We actually have feelings.
Oh,
I have
Shit.
I have emotions. That's how you say it, right?
No, you have Dakimakura. That's what you have.
I do actually.
Yeah. All right. Oh, here's a good one. Who are some of the most interesting people you've had the opportunity to meet?
I mean, if I
God,
answered, it would sound really, sycophantic.
I've been able to meet some very interesting people. I've met, let's see, I've met people who served in World War II. Let's see, I've actually met and personally talked to and shake the hands of and been around him for several days of a week, multiple occasions, was John Travolta's brother. In my town, because I'm actually have Asperger's, and I was in this like agency in my city that helps people with those types of needs. Well, John Travolta's brother was actually a special ed teacher. So he had this like little film workshop that I went to for a couple of years, and it was actually quite interesting.
Huh.
But let's see, God, I could be here for quite a while. I've met several people.
All right. Well, we'll move on to Flam then.
What was the question again?
Who are some of the most interesting people you've had the opportunity to meet?
Oh, that's a good question. I actually don't know of anyone like high tier people that I've met. Yeah, I actually have nothing on that regard.
I am genuinely surprised. I would have figured you would get more exposure, what with your line of work and everything.
No, I mean I meet occasional cool people, but no one of like noteworthy, like they're in papers and shit. No.
Hmm.
You
I think
guys.
the most I've got to. I think I've got this. Oh God, Alex.
That's my answer. I'm praised.
Um,
Trumps all of you.
have any of you seen Happy Gilmore?
No.
No.
I've seen bits on TV.
God damn it. It's only one of Adam Sandler's best movies. I mean, besides, what the fuck was it? The one where he's like going back to school and shit. I can't remember. Anyways, if you watch the movie Happy Gilmore, the his foreman from one of his jobs, he's a giant of a man. He's like 7 or 8 feet tall. I got to meet him when I was 5 years old.
Neat.
Yeah.
My
And
My
apparently
dad-
I don't remember it either, so I've only got my parents' account to go for it.
Now, I think my dad beats all you guys, though. Because my dad, actually, when he was in the army, he had lunch, personally, face to face with Francisco Franco's brother.
Oh, nice.
And, right, and this was back in the mid-70s when Franco himself was on his deathbed. Because my dad was stationed in Spain for a few weeks. And Franco himself was pretty sick, but his brother was a high-ranking member in the military. And then on top of that, my dad got to shake hands with Juan Carlos before he became the king of Spain. So
Nice.
yeah, that must have been pretty interesting.
I have a story about meeting a famous person,
Go on.
sort of long. Um, it's pretty much, I don't know if I've told this story before on the mugshots, but when I was born on December 23rd, 1997, in a hospital in Tennessee. And at that same hospital was a very famous country singer by the name of Carl Perkins. He was in the hospital getting treated for cancer. So my grandmother was walking out of the hospital right after I was born to, go home. And all these girls were crowded around this celebrity. And, my grandmother just walks on past. And one of the girls is like, why aren't you, going crazy? This is, a celebrity. And my grandmother says, well, I've got something way more precious up there in that hospital. And then the celebrity, he pipes up and he goes, now, what might that be, ma'am? And she says, my first granddaughter was born up there in that hospital just a few minutes ago. So this celebrity ends up going up to the NICU at the hospital and holding me. Like, they actually have picture proof that he held me.
Nice.
That famous singer was Billy Ray Cyrus, and he was actually there to see Carl Perkins in the hospital because he was really good friends with Carl Perkins at the time.
Billy Ray Cyrus.
I was held by Billy Ray Cyrus.
So every time when you were growing up and you were watching Hannah Montana and every he popped up, he was like, oh, that guy held me.
Actually, the funny part about it is my parents didn't tell me till I was like older. And I was going through they actually didn't even tell me. I was going through my baby book because that's what white Southern mothers do, is they make books about how their child grew up and whatever. And I was looking through it and I found a news article and the picture of Billy Ray holding me, and you could tell it was me because I've seen baby pictures all over my house of myself, so I knew it was me. And Mom's like, "Yeah, I didn't get to meet him because I had like passed out after giving birth to you." So yeah, it's a true story.
Nice.
Nice indeed.
Well, we are at our limit, so I think I'll end on what I think is probably one of the funniest stories I have. This isn't a story about me, it's about one of my friends. So, a girl I met in college, absolutely hilarious. Her mother's going through an airport, and she is, I'd say, 5 months pregnant with her. They're on their way to Taiwan. Well, her older brother's there, and so Mom sits down, looks across from her, and there's a really famous basketball player across from her. Really tall dude. I don't remember what his name was. And so she goes over and she strikes up a conversation with him. And while she's talking to him, my friend's older brother is looking this guy up, like way up. And the mom's, her mom's looking at him, and she knows he's going to say it. She knows he's going to open his mouth. And after about a minute, the very next words out of his mouth were, "Don't that make you wish you were black?"
Oh, God.
Oh, she was so embarrassed. She looks over at him. "I can't take you anywhere." And so they just kind of vacated. But this guy was laughing his ass off. I mean, who wouldn't? This little kid looks up to this huge black guy. "Don't that make you wish you were black?" Oh shit!
That's hilarious.
Oh, it was too. I wish I could get a hold of my friend to have her tell you the story. She tells it so much better than I do. But
as Big Man
that...
Tyrone would say, "Stop, dick."
All right. We are out of time for a regular broadcast. I'm not sure if we're gonna continue going on with this or not, but I'll go ahead and do the ending credits for us. So, Flam, thank you very much for having us on. I know this wasn't like the best one we've ever had, but I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, good, absolutely.
Why did you say having us on? What?
Did I have that dyslexic
Apparently.
moment where?
Yes, you did.
Flam is our new host, apparently.
All right, I guess it's Flam's show now, and we're just on here because we're assholes.
Totally.
All right. So, without much more, these have been your invaders, Alex.
Spooky goodbye.
Oh God. Enigma.
Even spookier goodbye.
Oh, I'm spooked.
Tony.
Alright, peace out.
Kyrie.
Oh fuck, were you saying something?
Yeah, probably. And this has been your host, Ravage. We hope you've all enjoyed the show, regardless of how boring it was at times.
I don't exist. Totally.
I was about to say it.